Okay, kids, it's time for another episode of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast where we will sleep when we are dead. I'm Chris Daly, and today I'd like to welcome Kevin Davis to the show. Kevin, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Absolutely. I'm doing pretty good, man. Just hanging in there. Like we mentioned before we got on there, it's been a long week and it's only Tuesday, but we'll get there.
Life of a creative.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. So usually to start these things off, I like to do an icebreaker question. So today's icebreaker question is, would you rather always be 2 hours early to everything or 20 minutes late?
I always like to be early, so 2 hours early.
Okay, that's a good answer. And
Okay.
I promise I didn't plan that question based on, what we talked about before we came on here. I promise that was totally unplanned. It was a
Oh
coincidence
wow.
there.
Wow. I guess it was meant for us to come to meet today.
Yeah, it was a total coincidence, dude. For
That's
those for
awesome.
those that don't know, we ran a little bit late recording today. Kevin ran into some issues, which is all good. We don't worry about that stuff here. It's not a big deal. But it's just kind of funny that today's icebreaker question just happened to kind of almost be true to life.
Right, right. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and I'm kind of with you. I was thinking, I'd rather be, I hate being late anywhere, but I'd rather be 20 minutes late than 2 hours early. But I think what I would probably do is show up 2 hours early and then just hang out in my car for like an hour and a half.
Exactly.
Just until
Exactly.
we get there, just to make sure for sure that I'm ready, because it's just how my brain
Oh yeah.
works. So yeah,
Yeah.
I even though I end up being late sometimes, which is not always due to fault of my own, my wife might disagree with that, but whatever. But I also would like to be early, so it's a good answer.
Yeah. Like growing up, I was always taught it's better to be early than late. Because
Yeah,
the way my mom taught me is like being early is on time, being on time is late, and being late, is just late. So that's in my blood. Like it was instilled into me. So
yeah,
especially if it's like a long distance thing.
yeah,
I'd rather definitely be early, and I can take a nap in my car or something.
yeah. There you go.
Before like the event or something. So yeah.
There you go. Your mom's a wise woman.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. So to start things off, I don't get to do this very often with people. And so I'm
Mhm.
decided I'm gonna do it with you, and I'm very excited to do this. And
Oh snap. Okay.
that thing is talk about pro wrestling.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Here we go.
I don't get to do that a lot with people, and so any chance I get, I try to squeeze a little bit in there. And knowing as big a wrestling fan as you are, like myself,
Heck yeah.
I gotta squeeze some pro wrestling in here before we, jump into the meat and potatoes of the conversation. So
Heck yeah. Talk to me.
what I want to do is by the time this interview airs, it'll already be over.
Mhm.
But I want to talk a little bit about Elimination Chamber.
Oh,
Let's
this
get some
Saturday. Heck
let's
yeah.
get some picks going for Elimination Chamber. So Elimination Chamber is a WWE pay-per-view that's coming this Saturday, March 1st. This interview will be posted after March 1st. It'll be posted
Okay.
next week. But
All right.
we could still kind of talk about a little bit. We can still get it on record what our picks were, just to see kind of how accurate we were.
Heck yeah.
So
All right.
let's start off the unsanctioned match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. What are
Mhm.
your thoughts?
One, I already know it's gonna be a banger because
Yep.
they always pull up on every match, banger after banger.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I always go for the good guy because I want to go for Sammy,
Yeah.
but the raw path Kevin's been on, I don't know. That was a bit tough because they both got good points though.
It is tough. And
But
I
if I want to pick, I would probably go for Semi though.
okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm kind of with you. Every match, whether they're against or with each other, is
Mhm.
completely incredible. And I'm a
Oh,
huge,
yeah.
huge, huge Kevin Owens fan. Um, but I think, like you said, the rampage he's been on is a pretty good one. And he's been handed a lot of big losses lately.
Mhm.
But I guess if you think about it, so is Sammy. So I was gonna say I'm gonna pick
Yeah.
KO, but This is going to be a tough one because I want to say KO because I don't think he's going to get another big loss, especially after losing to Cody a couple times in a row.
Yeah,
And I kind of want to say it's just going to end in a double count out because they're just going to beat the hell out of each other so much that neither one of them are going to get back up. But seeing as how it's going to be an unsanctioned match, that's probably really not
and
going to be an option.
yeah,
So I think, just for the sake of being different and because I got to show love to my boy Kevin Owens, I'm going to go Kevin
mhm,
Owens.
yeah. And also, it probably could be a referee stoppage because you know how dangerous they finna get since it's
Yeah,
unsanctioned.
but it's going to be unsanctioned. So I don't know if it's going to even,
Yeah.
referee
So,
stoppage is even going to be a thing.
oh, dang it. That's right, because it's not
Yeah.
official. Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
so I don't know. I don't even I think maybe the ref would probably
Oof.
just be there to just to call the match being over. But it's
Yeah.
hard to say because depending on the company and depending on really the time period,
Yeah.
unsanctioned matches seem to have slightly different rules. So who
That's
knows what
true.
this one's going to be?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
All right, so moving on, we're going to go Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice. What do you think?
I'm going with Tiffy and Tristan. I'm
That's
going with Tiff and Tristan. Heck yeah.
That's a good one too. And I also I think I'm gonna go that route too, just because I'm really not a huge fan of Nia Jax and
Man,
Candice.
me neither.
But I just have a feeling, and I don't want it to happen because I think they're a good team and they could really do some stuff together. But Trish's track record of turning on her opponents or her partners is pretty well known. So I have a
Mhm.
feeling that that might factor in somewhere. I don't know where, but and maybe it's not today. Maybe they extend it out to WrestleMania or something. I don't know. But
Yeah, I can see that happening, but when you think story wise, it really really makes sense for her to turn because one, she just got back and she doesn't have beef with Tilf unless there's
yeah,
like some story I'm missing.
no, I don't think so. I just know, the last time Trish was around, she teamed up with Zoe Stark and then she turned on Zoe Stark and
And she's Becky too. Yeah,
she teamed with Becky and she turned on Becky. So it seems like that's just a thing that they have her do. But, back then Vince was still kind of in charge. So now that it's just Triple H, so maybe it might be different. I don't know.
yeah, right, yeah, definitely.
All right, now we move to the chamber matches, and I'm going to start with the men's chamber match. We've got John Cena versus CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre versus Logan Paul versus Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. Who do you think?
I'm going with John.
Yeah,
It's been teased for a while that they've been teasing the dream match between John and Cody.
yeah, yeah, I think so too. And I don't know if I necessarily for me personally, I don't know if I
Mhm.
consider that a dream match really. Like I would much rather see like John versus Damian Priest or even
Ooh, that would be a banger. Like,
that
God, that
would
would be
be
a banger,
right.
man.
Just somebody he hasn't already wrestled before. And I get he
Right?
probably hasn't wrestled Cody, but they've got to
Yeah.
go with the storyline of him trying to break the record, which
Yeah.
they're not going to have a lot of chances left. And what I think is going to happen is it's going to be John. What I'd really wish for someone to be unexpected, kind of like how the Royal Rumble was,
Mhm.
because sometimes when they make it so predictable, it's not quite as fun. Like when Jey
Mhm.
Uso won, that totally floored me, man. I mean, I'm
Dude, I expected John to win.
I'm very happy that he won, and I think
Oh
it's
my
cool
God.
because no
That
one
was
saw
awesome.
Jey Uso winning, not one
Heck
person.
yeah.
So I thought it was
Mhm.
cool that he won, and I wish they would have done the same with the women's Royal Rumble.
Mhm.
But I think what's going to happen storyline wise is, CM Punk and Seth Rollins are going to get into it, and I think Drew and Damian are probably going to get into it. So I
Mhm.
really think it's gonna because Seth's on that warpath to keep CM Punk out of WrestleMania. So I think that's
Mhm.
probably going to factor in somehow. So I think everyone else is going to be tied up, and Logan Paul and CM Punk just started that feud yesterday.
Mhm.
Um, so I think everyone else is going to be so busy that I think John's going to end up winning.
And I also think that we could surprise like Roman coming and attacking Seth and CM Punk because you
Yeah,
know how they got eliminated together and Seth double stumped Roman. So that's another story they can tag into that too. So it's
yeah,
so many ways that this could end.
yeah. Because Roman's going to be out indefinitely. But yeah, I
Mhm.
I didn't think about that. That him making a surprise appearance, showing up at the Rumble,
Mhm.
and eliminating CM Punk, eliminating Seth Rollins, whatever.
Yeah, because it's rumored that they're gonna have a triple threat match,
Yeah,
Roman versus CM Punk and Seth at WrestleMania.
which I I think it's a weird way to go, especially because they kept talking about that promise that CM or that favor that CM Punk has over Paul Heyman.
That too. That
So
too.
you think, they've got to eventually pay off on that story because if they don't pay off on that story, people are going to forget about it. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking that CM Punk eventually tries to factor
Get
his
into the
way
title
into a
match.
title match to finally
Hmm.
main event WrestleMania, which is a story he's been trying to do.
Hmm.
But yeah, I that one's going to be a wild one.
I think honestly that triple threat probably be better for John versus Cody versus CM Punk. Because I think that could be a way to protect Cody, where John can pin CM Punk, or the other way around.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I
Or
think that would
even
be a better story.
or even if they were able to factor, if somebody else if John wins and
Mm,
CM Punk ends up trying to factor himself into, even Gunther versus Jey Uso,
that one too. Yeah.
where, you could protect Gunther or whatever by having him pin Jay or having Jay pin CM Punk to win the title or whatever. But either way, and because I saw an article recently where they said that they're having trouble selling tickets to WrestleMania now that Jey Uso is, going to be in the main event. But I'm thinking, don't blame that on Jey Uso because
But
I
yeah,
saw I saw the prices for WrestleMania tickets. Have you
but
seen the
that is very
prices?
pricey, and they're in Vegas, so it's gonna be extra pricey.
Bro, I saw like $700, but that's for nosebleed seats. That's for one day.
Dude,
And
I saw like something like $5,000.
and that, I mean, in this
I
economy,
was
man,
like,
like
Jesus.
no one's gonna be spending out the ass for WrestleMania tickets, especially
Like,
when, like, most people's house payments are gonna buy tickets to one night of WrestleMania. That's
yeah.
crazy. Crazy talk.
uh,
All right. So the last match.
and plus, my
Oh, go
bad,
ahead.
sorry.
Go
And
ahead.
plus, this build-ups hasn't been as exciting as last year, so you can also factor that in too.
Yeah, like the buildup is super weird this year. Like
Yeah,
they've had the title on Gunther forever, and like it just
it's so
it
boring. I'm not
it
gonna lie.
I don't.
His Intercontinental Championship reign was better than his world title reign, if I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
and here's the thing, going off on a side tangent. Um,
Mm,
I want Jey Uso to win at WrestleMania, but I really don't think
um,
they're going to have Gunther lose two WrestleManias in a row. You know
you
what I
think
mean?
so?
Like have because Gunther lost at Mania last year
Last
to
year,
Sami Zayn.
yeah,
Well, no.
it was last year.
Was that? Yeah, because it was
Yeah,
39. It was WrestleMania 39 where him and KO won the tag titles. And it was
mhm.
WrestleMania last year where
Yes,
Sami
yeah. Sammy
Zayn
beat.
won
Yep,
the title from Gunther.
yep.
So they've got this big unstoppable monster that only loses at WrestleMania. It's almost like an opposite from Undertaker with the streak.
Mm,
I don't see him losing two WrestleManias in a row, but that's just going off on a side tangent. But yeah, I agree with
yeah,
you. The whole buildup has kind of been kind of boring to me. Like for a lot of this stuff, really. I mean,
mm,
some of these stories have drug on so long, like the payoff should have already happened, I think. Like I get the whole long-term storytelling thing, and I think to a point Triple H does it really well, but I think that some of these stories are taking way too long to tell.
right.
For example, going off on another tangent, kind of going into our last match, the whole who attacked Jade Cargill thing.
Dude, that's since what back what October now?
It's been way too long. Like,
November. I lost count.
no one even
Uh,
cares anymore. And to be perfectly honest, I think Jade is the total package. I think she looks great. I think she
Heck yeah.
talks well, but her skill in the ring is garbage, man. Like I'm
But
gonna probably get a
keep
lot
in
of hate.
mind,
I'm
keep
gonna
in
get a lot
mind,
of
she's
hate
only
for
been
that, man.
racing for 3 years.
I think it's not a good investment for them to keep investing time and energy into Jade because she's just awful. Like when she was in AEW, I thought the same thing, but all she ever did was run through people that were super small. All her matches were squash matches for the most part, except for
I was like, yeah,
that last one when she lost the title to Chris Statlander. But it
yeah,
just
yeah, they misuse her too. But she's getting a proper training. She is a WWE now, so that's I mean, she's only been wrestling for a couple
yeah,
of years. So let's give her some time.
yeah.
She gonna get her footing. She gonna get her footing.
It just seems like it's taken way too long to get there, and that's the part that
Yeah.
I mean, you got other people like Lash Legend in NXT who
Well, she improved a lot though.
she's improved a
She,
ton, and she also is brand new to the game too. But
yeah,
she's physically as big as Jade. She's not
mhm,
necessarily as toned as Jade, but
Mhm.
I don't think that should be a factor. I think she's just as good, if not better, than Jade, and they're both still relatively new. So
Mhm.
that's someone I think you should invest your time in is someone like a Lash Legend instead of Jade Cargill, but that's just me.
I can understand that though.
All right, going off on a whole bunch of tangents. Apologize for that. Um, the last match of the night, Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss versus Bayley versus Naomi versus Roxanne Perez. What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking they're going with Bianca
Yeah,
because one that Bianca and Rhea was supposed to fight a couple years ago in Money in the Bank, but Rhea got injured. And one and two, those are two powerhouses that will bring in some money for
yeah,
WrestleMania.
for
And
sure.
three, they gave Liv the tag title. So I'm like, okay, that's different. Because when you go back at Elimination Chambers, they have the winner in like the third left slot, and Liv is that third left slot. So I'm like, okay, they finna give it to Liv again. But now they gave her the tag title. I was like, wait a minute, I think Triple H finna do a swerve.
I think so too. I think
Since he,
what's
I'm like, this is interesting. He's finna change it up.
yeah, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see something happen this Friday because I saw a thing where they said, and I'm trying to not to spoil this for my daughter because she hasn't watched the match yet, but they said Liv and Raquel were going to beat Naomi and Bianca for the titles, and those two were going to go on to defend the titles at Mania. And they're doing that because they're going to reveal very soon, who the attacker of Jade Cargill was. And it's very heavily rumored to be either Bianca or Naomi. And I think I would be very surprised if we don't see some kind of, movement in that story this coming Friday. Because I
We
think what
need
that
we
would
need
do
to understand.
I think what that would do would set up some kind because it was one of them that attacked her. I'm positive. I mean, I know really she didn't one of them didn't attack her, but storyline wise, one of them was the attacker. Um, and I think that's going to set up some animosity. I mean, they've already started that a little bit with how the match ended after they lost the titles. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to reveal, one of the two of them attacked her, and that's going to cause some bad feelings inside the chamber. So really, they're not going to be focused on trying to win. They're just going to be focused on beating the hell out of each other, I think. But I think, you're right. I think they're going to try to take something out on Liv for taking the titles. They're going to be mad at each other, so they're going to be focused on each other. I think Bailey and Roxanne are still going to be, involved somehow, and so they're
Oh,
going to
for
get
sure, for
distracted.
sure.
Um,
They probably gonna fight at WrestleMania.
oh, I would almost guarantee it.
Most definitely.
Whether it's in a one-on-one or it's some other kind of combination match.
Mhm.
And Alexa's just kind of there, and I don't think she's been back long enough to get any kind of a
I
really.
was like, she just got back, so she can't get a title match right now.
Yeah, she's not going to get any kind of a decent build for anything. So I agree with you. I think Bianca's going to win, but I also think if they don't reveal it on Friday at SmackDown, they're going to do something on Saturday at the Chamber where they're going to reveal who attacked Jade Cargill. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm with you. I think the one that makes the most sense to go on to WrestleMania would be Bianca. So, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
All right, man. That was awesome. Like I said, I don't get to talk wrestling with a lot of people anymore. So I'm pretty excited to be able to talk for at least a little bit about wrestling. So
Heck yeah, heck yeah,
thank you for indulging me.
heck yeah, man.
All right, man. So what I want to talk about now is, what fuels your weird? What's kind of the stuff that, when you're not working, what's kind of the stuff you're into, your hobbies, your interests, stuff like that. What do you get up to in your spare time?
A lot of horror movies.
Nice.
um, heck, I recently got into anime actually.
Oh, nice. Right on.
I watched One Piece.
You
And then
watched
I
all of
binged.
it already?
No, that's a lot.
Okay.
No,
Okay. I was
no,
gonna say.
no. I watched the live action first, and then I watched the animation of the show.
Okay.
I was introduced to I don't know if it's anime, but Castlevania. I'm not
Okay.
sure if that's
Yeah, yeah,
anime.
yeah.
Or,
I
I'm
think
like,
I don't know really how they consider that. I know it kind of is drawn in a style kind of like anime, but
yeah,
I don't know what they consider that one.
okay. And my sister introduced me to a show called Arcane, and
Yeah,
that was
okay.
all over my Instagram.
Oh
People
yeah.
reacting to like the new season. I was like, what the hell is
Yeah,
this?
big time. Big
And
time.
then I looked at it. I was like, oh, this is like a cyberpunk style. animation.
Yeah.
So I'm currently watching that. And then flip side, I'm watching live action shows like The Agent, I'm not The Agent, The Recruit, The Night Agent,
Okay.
and Goosebumps.
Nice.
And like a lot of different things. I even go back to like old shows like Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries. Like I'm a nerd. Like I am straight up a nerd. Scooby Doo, Teen Titans, even like the 90s shows like Arnold, um, the cat show, Cat and Dog,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Even Keenan and Cal, Drake and Josh. Yeah, I'm a full blown nerd.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I growing up in the 90s, I hit all those boxes, and I've
yeah.
actually tried showing a lot of those to my kids because I think there's a lot of great cartoons now, but
Mm,
there's a lot of real bad ones right now. And I think a lot of the ones, from the 90s when we were growing up, I think were incredible cartoons. So I've been
oh
trying
yeah.
to show a lot of those to my daughters. Like I know they really like Rugrats a lot. My oldest really likes Arnold, and she like Doug a whole bunch. I've still got so many more to show, but
But
um,
even Rugrats.
yeah, Rugrats. They're a
Yeah,
big fan of Rugrats.
heck yeah.
Yeah, me myself, I actually also recently got into anime within the last couple years because for a long time I just kind of pushed off anime. I was like, it's
Same.
stupid, I don't like it, it's dumb. But really, what I found now that I've fully embraced anime and gotten into anime, that if you don't like anime, that just means you haven't found the right one for you. Because there are
Exactly.
so many different genres and so many different
So many. Jeez.
versions, like not even versions, that's not the right word, but there's just so many different animes about different subjects and different topics,
Mhm.
ranging from a guy who gets reincarnated as a vending machine, and that's the whole show is he's just a vending machine, to,
Right.
something like a One Piece or a My Hero Academia or even like a Chainsaw Man. So there's a real big spectrum of stuff. Um, that you and I will definitely have to talk about anime because, being new yourself, I am also fairly new, so I've got some good suggestions. I don't know if you've heard about them, but we'll definitely have to chat about that maybe later.
Yeah. And I heard about Seven Deadly Sins, and
I've heard that one.
I watched Naruto and Dragon Ball Z years ago when I was a
Oh,
kid.
nice.
Um, and the funny thing is, when I speak like old school stuff, people think I'm more older than I am because how
Yeah,
I speak like about old school. I was like, I just grew up in an old school household. I was like, yes, I'm 25, but I have an old soul.
I
And
get
I'm
that,
like,
man.
if you ask me like who the artists of my generation, I wouldn't able to tell you because I don't listen to them.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, I like old school R&B, even country, um, everything old school. That's how my household is. And now I'm glad I was raised that way because looking at my generation, I'm like, no. Um,
That's
and
awesome,
people ask me, is like, what do you do for fun? I was like, I work on my business, I write comics, and I watch a lot of horror movies. They're like, you don't party like in your 20s. Like, no, I don't have time to party. Like, I don't want to waste my 20s partying.
It's
Like, I really
overrated.
don't.
Overrated.
It's like, and plus, I'm a deeply introverted.
Oh, bro,
I was like,
for real.
and I get burnt out very quickly being around people. I was like, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just I don't know what to call it, but I call it my social meter. And when it goes to a
Yeah, yeah.
certain point,
Social batteries run out.
thank you, that one.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
thank you, that one. But
I'm all
it's like,
peopled out. I can't people anymore today.
yeah,
I get you, man. I get
oof,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm an old soul. I just turned 41, or not 41. Jesus Christ. I just turned 40 in September. And yeah, let me
Wait,
tell you what,
September,
man.
when's your birthday?
September 27th.
Wow, I'm September 1st.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
September 1st.
My oldest daughter is the 13th, so she's right in between.
Wow, September's rule.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I spent, I didn't spend a lot of my 20s partying. I did a little bit, but I spent a lot of my 20s raising kids. And yeah, going I actually just saw a TikTok the other day that said, people overestimate the power of just sitting in your house with your stuff, eating snacks, and just minding your own damn business. That's like a whole nother level, man. Like I don't I don't like going out that much unless I have to because, all my stuff's at home. Why the hell would I want to leave? All
Exactly.
my stuff's here. I want to go out. My stuff's here. If I leave, my stuff is not coming with me. So it's like, why would I want to leave? It's
Oh yeah.
super overrated in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yes,
that's
I've done, but like I've done stupid crap in my when I was like a teenager. It's
yeah,
like yeah, and I had to grow up fast because
yeah,
my
I
mom
get
was
that.
not going to allow me to go down that path like other people.
Yeah, I get that.
Uh,
But yeah, you kind of did the opposite with One Piece that I did because I wanted to watch the live action, but I watched the anime first. But I didn't finish it. I just watched enough of the anime to cover what season one of the live action covered. So I'm only like 80-ish episodes in. But
I actually read I actually went down and read it. I didn't even watch it before I watched the live
oh,
action.
nice.
I
Right on.
read the each episode like you know how they break it down in each
Yeah.
episode. I
Hmm.
went and read it before I watched the live action just to see what's it about. But I watched the entire live action. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I
Yeah, it
watched
was
like a
good.
little bit of the animation. I was like, this is hilarious. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna continue watching this.
The
It's
anime's
pretty good.
the anime's really good. They actually cut
Uh,
there's a lot of filler in the anime that they don't put in the live action, which
I
kind of
saw that.
it
Yeah.
makes sense to a point. Um,
Mhm. Especially budget wise, because some things you
yeah,
can't really put in live action. It will come out disgusting and it'll be way too expensive.
yeah. And I'm kind of like that with a couple of the animes I watched, like Cowboy Bebop. They had the live action a couple of years ago. I watched
Oh my God. I
the
started watching live action. I fell asleep like 5 minutes in.
I watched the anime first before I watched the
Okay.
live action, so that kind of helped
Yeah.
a little bit.
Mm.
But I thought it was good. I don't get what people were so pissed about. They made a lot of changes from the anime. I know the one big
That's
change.
probably why they was pissed.
Well, I mean, one of the big changes they made was one of the main characters is a girl, and in the
Mm.
comic or in the anime, of course, she's quite endowed, but in the live action, she's not as big, which
Uh,
makes sense because girls aren't built that way in real life. Not all
yeah,
girls are
they're
built
not.
that way in real life, so you can't realistically do that. And a lot of people were pissed about that, but it's
It's like, yeah, I'm like, people need to
like if
stop getting their emotions and think about production wise.
yeah, like if that's your biggest beef with it, then I mean
Like,
there's other things wrong with you. If the problem is that
yeah,
this girl, her breasts aren't, gigantic, like whatever.
people are weird. People are
It's so
dumb.
dumb.
Yeah.
All right, man. So, let's take a trip in the Wayback Machine and kind of go all the way back to little Kev. Um, what was it that inspired you to become a writer in the first place?
My mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it was my ninth grade high school year. Um, and I hated writing with a passion.
Okay.
With a passion. I hated
Yeah.
writing papers, anything I had to write up to. But one of the lessons my mom taught me is that once you realize the thing you hate the most, you're actually really good at. I mean, because I tried to like brush it off. I was like, sure, okay, fine. Because I'm
Yeah.
a teenager, I think I know it all. So,
Yeah.
um, it was my African American history class, ninth grade year. We had our first paper, and he ranked us from 1 to 5, where 1 is like you need a lot of help. 3 is like you're there, but I want to push you higher. And 5 is like you're there, stay there, right? My first paper, I get back, he told me that I was a level 3.
Oh wow.
And he said, Kevin, you have an amazing skill in writing. I just want to push you higher so you get to the 5 level.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, what are you talking about? Because I hate writing. Um, and of course, that quote my mom told me is that thing you hate the most, you're really good at. I was like,
Yeah.
darn it, she's right. And then, but I was like, but I didn't really start getting to love writing to my senior year. So like that was 4 years. I'm like finding myself, like what I want to do in my life, yada yada yada. I was like very nonchalant. I'm still nonchalant, but I'm not as nonchalant as I was before.
Yeah.
But I had to grow up. So, but it was my senior year. My mom gave me her book that she has her murder mystery book. She hasn't published yet. She let me read the entire thing. When I say I got done with that book the first day she gave it to me, I could not put it down.
Wow.
And I got irritated when people call my name. I don't read the book. I was like, God damn.
That's awesome.
And then, and from there, it clicked in me. I was like, I think I can do this. Like I
Nice.
would love to write my own stories. And so I just started talking to my mom and was like, okay, how like what make her fall in love with writing? And she broke it down to me and gave me like tips about writing. Um, and I published my first book in like 2021, I think it was.
Nice.
So I became an author in 2021
Right on.
or 2020. It's my time is kind of just all over the
You
place.
know, around that time, everything's kind of all wishy-washy, man.
Yeah.
So it's
So
all
I was
good.
like, it's yeah, because that was COVID, and this and
Yeah.
that, and yeah, time went by so freaking fast.
Yeah.
And I started writing, and it took me a minute to get my footing. I was like, I know what I want to write, but how the heck do I execute it? And like that was the big thing, was execution. So I wanted to make sense. I wanted to be fun, and I want to just explore my imagination. I was like, in my head, I knew what I wanted, but on paper, I was like, but how do I get there? Well, I have
Yeah.
the beginning, I have the end. I was like, but what's the middle to lead up to here? And what's like the second act to get to the middle and yada yada yada. Um, so yeah, I've been writing for 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. It's
So
nice
yeah.
when you got a parent that'll help encourage you with, something like that. It's very rare to find that, but it's cool that when it happens.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. Now, what was it that kind of, switched you on to, heck, hey, I'm gonna write a comic book. Like what got you into comics?
That one was during COVID. I
Okay.
remember that was actually during COVID because I had nothing to do.
Sure.
Um, I didn't grow up reading comics.
Hmm.
I'm like, I didn't like I knew Marvel and DC, but I knew the movies. I didn't know they were based on something else.
Yeah.
Um, so it was 2020 at home because we had to be home. We couldn't go out. Well, I
Yeah.
don't go out anyway, so it's my normal
Right.
life anyway.
Hmm.
Um, I was scrolling on TikTok and this company popped up on my FYP. And it was called Black Sense Entertainment. And I was like, what the heck is this? And it kept showing up on my page. I'm like, what the heck is this? I don't even know who the heck you are to
Yeah.
keep you my FYP. Then I was like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna check it out. And then I see he's a comic book company. And I checked out his website. I got instantly caught by the graphics. I was like, wow. And so I purchased like some of his books.
Nice.
And then from there on, I learned about independent comics. I was like, what's independent comics? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I never grew up on comics, so I thought when I found out about Marvel and DC were also based on comics, I didn't think that was other comic book worlds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
And from there, I learned about Va- Valiant. What's it called? Valiant Comics or
Valiant. Yeah. Hmm.
Valiant Comics. When I saw the movie Bloodshot, I was like, oh, this is also based on a comic. And then I hear about Image, Dark Horse, because I'm a huge Hellboy fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's when I found about Dark Horse comics.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that is so many freaking comics. I
Yeah,
mean, I
man.
was like, it's like my nerdness started to come out, and I was like, okay, I need to find where the heck to buy these because this is crazy. um, what was then like the show like right on the Earth, that was some IDW. I was like, Jesus Christ, what in the world?
Yeah,
All these
man.
comics, and so I watched that show and learned about the comic too. And then I heard that Stranger Things also has a comic crossover with Teenage Ninja Turtles at IDW or
Um,
somewhere.
I think so.
I
Some
forgot
I
where.
can't remember, but I think you're right.
Yeah, I got the comic. I just forgot where I got it from. Uh,
Yeah.
because I'm a huge Stranger Things fan, but we get into it later. Um, but what's what started me wanting to write because I got tired of Hollywood with the recycled stuff. I'm gonna be completely honest. I got tired of Hollywood with this
Yeah.
recycled bullshit they keep bringing out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my fancy reboot after reboot. I'm like, oh god, Jesus Christ. And then I'm like, why am I writing on something for me to that I want to see when I can do it myself.
Yeah.
So the light bulb hit in my head. I was like, let me research how do people write comics. And then I saw you have to write a script. I'm like, script? Like a movie? And it
Yeah.
said, yes, but you just have to change the format into panels instead of just straight lines on the
You just
page, if
mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, and so I read like examples of so my first movie script I read was like either the I think it was the Flash. Like I read like how they write the episodes of the Flash and Arrow and like the show, not the comics, the show. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the show.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so like see the example of like a screenplay, and then I found like a random comic script. Let's see how they differentiate. I was like, oh, that's what they mean by changing the format into panels instead of I was like, then I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. And so I started jotting down like what story I want to do. And then my weirdness come in watching different shows, like I said, Stranger Things, Aliens, Underworld. As you can tell, I went dark.
All right.
Because I'm a huge fantasy horror lover. I'm gonna be completely honest. And I found out that's actually my strong suit to write is fantasy and
Nice.
horror.
Right on.
That's it's actually a bit easier to write compared to like other genres. I'm a big Scream fan, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. I like the first Friday the 13th, technically the second, but most of the first one. I like the 2009 one too. Um, so I went like get my inspiration, try to get my creativity flowing, and then that's where my first comic uh Arkfyre came from because I got inspired by the story. Another thing is, I like to put messages in my stories, like especially like underlying message of mental health. I'm
Yeah.
a big mental health advocate. Also like stories of finding yourself because I've been finding myself all my life. Well, we always have to find ourselves, see,
Yeah.
find who we are, and so that's I kind of base Arkfyre off of me because I was confused. I had anger issues growing up. Excuse me. Um, especially growing up without a father in the house. Uh, I was the only male in my house my entire life, so I was confused. And so I acted out. I did stupid shit. I used to be afraid saying that. I'm not gonna lie. I used to be afraid explaining that, but now I'm like, like when I text you, I'm an open book. That's ask me anything. I don't care. That's ask me
Yeah.
anything. I'm an open book. That's also what inspired me to write because I found out that you can help even if it's just one person, you can make a difference in life.
It's true.
And so in my writing, I got even more inspired trying to inspire somebody else to explore their imagination. Um, and like hearing other authors' stories that also inspired me again to write more and more. Listen to other comic creators and how what they got into it, what made them get into it. Um, yeah, and I really just love telling. I just love storytelling. That's really it is. I love storytelling
Nice.
and just crafting my own, like figure out my own craft and what makes me uniquely me. And I was like, I'm not the type of person like I was like, I'm not going to meet like millions of people. I was like, I'm not cocky at all.
Yeah.
I was like, because this business is hard. It takes a minute for every thing to pop off.
Yeah.
I was like, if I even if I reach one person and it made their day, that makes my day. Like
Absolutely.
like somebody took a chance on me and actually enjoyed what I write. That really pushes me more.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Like, and I'll use you as an example, like you said, when you have someone, even one person reach out and kind of tell you that you make a difference, that it really helps a lot. And it's cool that people take the time to do that. Like you, when you reached out and said, man, you're like my favorite podcast. Like, I love listening to your show. And I'm like, that really made my day, man. So, I've already talked to you about this, but I want to thank you for that just in person, just because that really like that made a huge difference. That was really cool of you to do. Um, and I'm glad you enjoy the show, and I'm glad that you could be a part of the show today. So it's coming full circle.
Yes, sir.
But with I agree with you with comic book movies and stuff like that because there's a lot of movies out there that people don't even know are adaptations of comic books, like Scott Pilgrim. Nobody knew that was a comic book adaptation. I mean,
I did
even when I first saw it, I didn't know. But I just loved the movie anyway. A lot of people hate it just because it was so weird and over the top and off the wall. But once they found out it was based on a comic book, they're like, oh, okay, I totally get that. And it's
not.
one of my absolute favorite comic series now. It's so, so good. Um, but
Even Kick Ass, I think it was a comic book.
Kick-Ass is a comic book, and it's
Um,
that's a the first movie's pretty good. The second one's kind of meh, but Kick-Ass
I
is
don't even
awesome.
remember the second movie,
The
if
kick
I'm
the the,
honest.
the Kick-Ass comic, it's kind of like spawned this whole big like universe. I've only read like I think the first run, the first few volumes, but it's so good. But the advice you had given about, you were sick of Hollywood and sick of the reboots and the remakes and all that stuff, so you just decided, you can't find what you're looking for, so you're just gonna make it.
Yep.
That's the best advice I've heard from a ton of creatives, and I really think that's really awesome, genuine advice because it's like, and kind of going back into, your whole, reaching one person, like if you make something that you want to see that doesn't already exist, there's going to be at least one person out there that's like, yes, this is exactly the thing I needed that I didn't know I needed, but now I can see it, so now I know that I need it. So
Mhm.
it's, even if you're the only person that reads it, someone eventually is going to glom onto it and want to take a look at it. So yeah, that's great advice. If what you want doesn't exist, go and make it. Why not?
Yep.
Give it a shot.
Exactly.
Even if you don't know how to do it, there's tons of resources out there to try and figure it out. I mean, when even using this show again as an example, I've been a podcaster since like 2011, something like that. So I've been a podcaster for a long time, on and off, all over the years. And for a lot of the shows, there was always someone that could edit it for me. I just showed up, talked whatever, said some dumb shit in the microphone, and then left, and then that was it. But
Mhm.
for a while, I had, a former friend of mine. We wanted to kind of get back into podcasting, but we didn't know how to edit the show. So I just looked up Dr. Google and, Dr. YouTube, and I learned enough to edit the show. Am I a great editor? No. Do I know enough to edit and release a product that sounds decent? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I can do enough to get the point across, and so it's, if you want to do something, just go out there and do it. And I mean, that's really all there is to it. And with going back to your story about how you didn't find indie comics until 2020-ish because you didn't grow up on comics. I kind of grew up on comics as my dad was a huge nerd, so I'm kind of the nerd I am today thanks to my dad. And
Mhm.
I didn't even know about indie comics until about 2020 when COVID hit because I wanted to, I decided that my social media was super boring and just full of negative, and it still kind of is, but just, just negative posts and all this like gloom and doom. And I wanted to kind of put some, positive and stuff in there to kind of, spur my own creativity because, I've been a prose writer for a few years. But I wanted something that could help inspire me, help kind of motivate me to kind of get back into writing. And so I wanted to add some creators and creatives to my timeline. And that's how I found, like this whole brand new world of indie comics where all these people who aren't part of major labels who are making their own labels and they're making their own comics and getting out there and doing their own thing. And to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of comics out there that are indie comics that are way better than any of the stuff that Marvel, DC, or any of the big names are putting out.
Mhm. Yeah, even like one of my zombie comics I'm working on, we got a few pages in. The artist that does the colorist that does on my zombie comic told me, he said, dude, do you plan on publishing this? I was like, yes. And he tells me this is like the best thing I've ever seen, better than Marvel and DC.
That's
And
awesome.
he flat out told me, he said the writing and the way we executed it, dude, this is, I'm like, he literally told me this is the best story he's ever read and seen, even on the art that they done. I was like, dude, I'm a rookie and you send this to me?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, some of
I
those
was
indie
like,
comics out there are
dude.
better than any of the mainstream stuff. It's for real, man.
Yeah, and he's like, I think he even told me that he thinks this is better than Walking Dead. I'm just like, what the hell?
Wow.
Whoa.
That's a compliment.
It was like,
I've never
whoa.
read The Walking Dead, but I've heard it's very good. So
Me
that's
neither.
a big compliment.
I watched the Fear the Walking Dead show. I watched the spin-offs. I never watched the original show.
Mm,
I know I'm backwards, but it
it's
happens.
all right. Not no
So yeah,
worries. Now,
but yeah.
you did talk a little bit about your comic Arkfyre 2, or your comic Arkfyre, which,
I mean, there is a two, but yeah,
yeah, your comic
yeah,
Arkfyre, and you're working on
yeah,
issue 2, which
yeah.
you
This
said
is
is
issue one. If
issue
you can
1.
see it, yeah.
Nice.
Can you see it a little bit?
A little
That
bit.
I'm like, it's kind of blurry a little bit, but this is the gist of it.
That's awesome, man.
But, yeah. So yeah,
That's awesome. So,
yeah.
for those that have never heard of your comic Arkfyre, why don't we take a minute right now to kind of have you tell us what it's all about?
Okay, so my lead character is named Theo Arkfyre. Um, so the story goes is where he wakes up in a science lab from an egg, like a cocoon type of thing. Has no memory of who he is, and the the story goes where he's trying to figure out who he is and figure out what power he has. Um, and I will say the reviews I've gotten so far was is freaking phenomenal and hilarious. Um, but Arkfyre tells the story, Theo Arkfyre. I would say he's like, uh, if you know the show Stranger Things, 11. You know how she like barely had memory, or like at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I kind of got my inspiration from.
Okay.
But I kind of, but and I also like twisting different genres together in one. That's also how I kind of bring my creativity into it. So in issue one, Arkfyre is blasting through this science lab, uh, knocking out everybody, trying to like who the hell am I? Who the hell am I? Maybe this guy can help. This scientist dude, he can help. That he finds a card of named Miss Dr. Rodriguez, and then and then issue one, three, I call the elf riches come and try to like take his power. I'm like, you don't know who they really are because I literally leave it open to you asking questions like, okay, who the hell is this? Who the hell are these women? Elf riches. Why are they after his power? Who is this guy? What type of power he's got? And because he has very explosive power, I will say that. Um, and I don't mind spoiling. It's been out since last year. Um, and at the end of issue one, Dr. Rodriguez tells Theo, you have to go find the others like you. And Theo's like me. I don't know who the heck I am, basically, if you read in between the lines. And
Yeah.
so Dr. Rodriguez gives Theo a list of where to go. And obviously he has, and then at the very end of issue one, you find out Theo has a wolf spirit. Uh, I guess I'll say celestial, sort of ish. That will be explored more in the series. Um, letting him know that you're not alone. I'm going to be protecting you on your journey. Just don't be afraid. And Cathio was thanking the wolf, and I left issue on right there on the cliffhanger, saying to be continued.
Nice.
And then I will say in issue two, you're going to meet a lot of characters.
Right on.
uh, you're going to meet a vampire and a witch at the beginning of issue two, and they're going to go on a journey with Cathio, figuring out the vampire's issue because the vampire, his name is Cavell. His sister's dead, and he's trying to get vengeance on trying to who killed his sister. And so you're gonna introduce his arc with the witch arc. I call what I call coffee or coffee. I forgot how I called it. It was coffee or coffee, one of those.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, you're gonna see the so you're gonna so yeah, you'll get some allies. I won't say friends just yet, but I'll say allies in issue two. That's currently in production, coming out this summer.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I'm excited about it. And I will say, as I write the series, I'm going to make it more grounded. I might switch like to Western horror, drama horror. So I'm kind of like having fun with each issue because I want each issue to be like its own thing, but still connected, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I also like challenging my writing.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Now, another thing I want to talk about is you are one of the busiest guys I know. You got stuff going on you got magazines, you got comic books, you got a website, you got clothing line coming out, you got all sorts of stuff coming, and I'm guessing you can find that all on your website. So why don't we take a minute to kind of talk about the website? Let's talk about, all these different things you got going on. Let's give you a minute to talk about that.
Okay, so my website is called Kevlis Studio. It's KEVILYST studio.com. So that's my LLC is called, it's Kevlis. I'm official now.
Nice.
Uh, so I started the website to like showcase everything I'm doing, basically. Like to give a breakdown. It's like this is me and this is my company, Kevlist. Uh, I call it a media production company because I'm also going to be producing podcasts and my own podcast at some point.
Nice.
Um, I got my equipment. I just got to get the space.
That's fair.
So I'm rearranging my office room slash room. I'm gonna work out my room right now.
Nice.
Um, and so I try to find like good lighting, good angles to film, and make sure I got the good volume. And I'm also learning editing. I also got an editor on standby if I need extra help.
Nice.
Um, so I call it, it's basically like my beacon leak in a way, okay, like
Yeah.
where you can see all my stuff together. And I also have a business partner, my best friend Christina. She's a mental health. She's my mental health director of my business. And
Nice.
she's more vocal than me. I'm like she's she's more vocal and she's more out there than I am. So I'm like I needed somebody that does mental health and but articulate it better than I can. So that's how me and her bonded over that. I was like, and I have her videos to my website too. And so she started her podcast. I'm gonna have produced, it's called Wall Talk with Christina.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, you're more vocal than I am, so okay, I'm gonna put you on my website.
Nice.
And and then my other best friend Kate, she's a model, and she's also a big mental health advocate too. And so she's bringing her expertise in like modeling. And you will actually see her in issue one of my magazine, issue one, two, and three actually.
Right
So you
on.
get to see her in my magazine. Uh, and she's very open. She doesn't sugarcoat nothing at all. Well, actually they both are. That's why we bonded so well. Because we
Nice.
now thinking about it, I was like, actually, that's why we're like three real best friends. Because when we don't sugarcoat nothing, I'm like, we're gonna tell you how it is. We're gonna be real with you.
That's awesome.
Because we all have the mindset. It's like life is too short. We're not gonna lie to you. We're just gonna tell you how we feel, how we see something. Um, yeah. So on my website, you can see like even like on my website, you can see the covers of books that haven't come out yet. I was like, I'm like, so you can like, see how my writing style is, like what I like. Because I go from like manga anime style to American style to other styles that's out there. I'm like, I'm not that picky. I'm picky, but I'm not picky.
Yeah.
It just depends on which story I think fits better with the style. That's why I chose manga anime style for Arkfyre because that's how I saw it in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And my Terminus, which is my zombie series I'm working on, that's in I guess that's called American style. I'm not, but it's not manga. I just say that.
Okay.
Um, my book Havoc, that's manga anime style, a different manga style. Oh, Arkfyre is Western anime style. That's what it is. There we go.
Mm,
Arkfyre is Western anime style.
gotcha.
Um, so yeah, I like dancing around with different styles, like learning different aspects of art. Because I grew up as an artist. I used to draw myself. Like, I used to draw like cartoons, guitars, cars, random shapes, just connecting shapes.
Nice.
I was like, but I stopped. I was like, I don't know why I stopped. I just stopped. It just It just wasn't in me anymore.
Yeah.
And then I found out I'm more of a writer than I'm a drawer. I can visualize it, but I can't really draw it out. So
I
I
got you.
love having fun talking to real artists, not those scammers. Be careful, be real, those scammers out there.
It's true.
Um, but and I love talking to artists that I can be friends with and also work with too. So that's how I do like my interview process. If I can be friends with you, you can have like a full blown conversation about like the most randomest shit ever. I'm stop you. I'm staying. You staying with me long term.
Nice.
um, and so and if especially if I like your style and you're the laid back person, but also you know how to get business done too. So oh yeah, we can definitely work together. I've had those that be blowing on my Instagram and my messenger begging me. I was like, that's not how you're gonna get on my team by begging.
It's
I was
true.
like, I'm like, I might be. I'm like, I don't say I'm a nice guy because I don't like the term nice guy because that's very manipulative.
Yeah.
I was like, I am a chill, laid back person. I'll say that, but I still have a company to run, so I have to make hard decisions. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't. I hope you get your commissions, you get your art out there, but it's not with me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, those really
Um,
annoying ones that as soon as they friend you, they shoot you a message like, "Hey, you want to look at my portfolio? Hey, you want to do this?" I'm like, "No, I don't."
like I get messages from like a 3D artist.
Oh, dude, all the time.
I was like, just because I was nice enough to accept your friend request does not mean you can just message me automatically.
Yeah.
I was like, I friend people, but I don't message them automatically. Like when I friended you, I didn't mess you automatically. Until I found out like you do a podcast. So I wanted to introduce myself. I was like, it's called being professional and also um, we're all human beings.
It's true.
So
Yeah, I
we
mean,
all so
I was happy to friend you because I saw you interact with another person.
mm,
And I saw you interact a lot of wrestling stuff, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I need to talk to this guy because he's awesome.
so yeah.
But yeah, you at least gotta, if you friend somebody, you gotta at least kind of, be a little bit sociable. You can't just right out the gate be like, hey, look at my portfolio, you want to hire me? Like, that's the way wrong way to do it.
Yeah. And my next website is this kevlist.com. That's going to be my future bookstore where you can actually get my books and stuff.
Nice.
Um, I'm still working on it as I'm still got books coming. But Arkfyre will be up there, Havoc will be up there. My third comic, Skin Shifter, will be up there. You like the alter ego stories? That's what Skin Shifter is.
Nice.
And my magazines will be up there. And then I also have a book that's a combination of my first three comics. So this is what I'm going to do like every at the end of every year when I release. My plan is like release like 2 or 3 comics a year, maybe. Poten- Potentially more. You never know. You
Yeah.
never know. Um, but every at the end of each year, I plan like to combine all the 3 comics together in one book, just in case if people don't want to get the singles, you can get this one book. You get all my 3 comics that's been released in this book for one price, and you have all the stories.
Nice.
So, and I also put extra in there that's like to tell you who I am. This is my company, yada yada yada. This is my story. Yeah. So I call that's my Kevlin's World collectible. Yeah, it's called collectible, right? Collectible. Yeah, my Kevlin's World collectible. So yeah,
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
so I think the intro fits really well where we'll sleep when we're dead because man, you got something going on all the time. Podcasts, magazines, comics, websites, all that stuff, man. You're a super busy dude. That's
oh
really
yeah,
cool that you keep yourself busy.
yeah. And
How
I
do,
also have my shoes and my clothing brand, and then I have a drink brand coming soon.
dude, how do you find all the motivation to just keep going on stuff? How do you do it?
One, I'm fed up with people with corporations.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, I'm just gonna be straight up. I'll tell you, when I tell you I'm real, I'm raw and real. I'm fed up with corporations.
Hmm.
I'm fed up with people being mistreated in these corporations and stuff being overpriced for no freaking reason. Um, and especially like clothing. I'm like, dude, this is overpriced. Like, shoot, like really Nike, really, like really. I was like, to me, Nike's a bit overrated at times. I was like, that does not worth $1,000 for a shoe. Like, come
Yeah.
on. Like, come on. And so I make my own shoes. I'm just like, if you can see my boxes right here next to me, and that's not even half the shoes I've made. I still got more to order
Oh man.
from the manufacturer. Um, so I started making my own. Um, I started making my own clothing, and so that's why I started made my own clothing brand because I'm also going in my clothing brand. I'm also doing like a mental health message on the clothing too. I'm like, letting you because I want because when they look at my they buy my clothing and get my shoes, I always say I want you to walk with fire and to discover your purpose. I want you to get that confidence that you know who you are and what you want to do, and not allow people to dictate what you can and cannot do. Because at the end of the day, it's your decision, not theirs. So that's why a lot of my designs like Phoenix design, because I want people to rise like a phoenix and just be them. I write poems for mental health, so you're gonna see that on my shirts and jackets and hoodies and whatever else I find to create. Um, then my beverage brand, I'm going to do like coffee. Um, I'm actually running my. You can't really see it, but my shirt right here is Kevin's Brew Spirit. That's
Nice.
my coffee division of my beverage company. I'm creating. So it's
Right
called
on.
my main company name is Kevin's Brew. That's my beverage company name. Um, so I'm going to do like energy drinks, water, sodas. Heck, I'll probably throw in some cocktails for people that want to have cocktails, especially on them hard days.
Awesome, man.
Lemonade, fruit punch. So yeah, like that's how I'm motivated because I'm fed up with corporations. If
That's awesome, man.
I'm gonna be honest, yeah.
That's so awesome. I'm very envious of you. That's very cool that you can, keep yourself motivated like that because it's hard because there's a lot of stuff coming at everybody all the time, a lot of negativity and a lot of, it's real easy just to not do stuff. So it's cool that you're able to, keep it positive, keep everything going. That's very admirable. I'm
Mhm.
very excited to see what's
And,
going to come from you, man.
and like that's why I asked some of my friends, I'm like, do you like sugar or no sugar? And someone said sugar, someone said they can't do sugar due to this. I was like, okay, so half and half. I'm like, okay, so this is the sugar. I'm like, so I know to do a sugar collection and a non-sugar collection. So yeah,
Nice.
like, am I some drinks would be double produced, one side sugar, one side is not. So yeah,
Nice.
or actually, I did find where I can do one production where I can actually switch out the sugar where it's not sugar, where it's some type of sweetener that gives the flavor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a sugar
Yeah.
substitute.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, what's my
Yeah,
wording? Thank you.
yeah.
This is the other thing. My brain goes like 1,000 miles per hour. So sometimes the words trip up because my brain is always going. This
I
is
get
why I
it, man.
always say I'm up like 5 o'clock in the morning because my brain doesn't stop.
I get it, man.
So I watch movies. I'll be watching movies. I'll be writing. Sometimes to help me fall asleep, I'll watch like ASMR videos to help me like calm my mind.
Nice.
Even sometimes that doesn't help because now I'm getting ideas of what I can do. Like when that's everything can inspire me to make a story.
Nice.
Because I want to challenge my writing because I want to get into the to genres like drama. I watch shows like Virgin River on Netflix, um, um, Bridgerton. Um, yeah, I love Adam Sandler. Man, that's my boy, Adam Sandler. Freaking love Adam Sandler. Oh my God.
Nice.
He's legit my childhood. Adam Sandler's my
Yeah,
childhood.
me too.
I'm like, especially if he's a Virgo. You really think I'm not gonna be a fan? Come on now. And his birthday is September too, so heck yeah, that's my boy. Man, that's a
Nice.
boy. Um, like I want to like write comedy like Adam Sandler. What's that guy name? Jesus Christ. Dave Chappelle. Yeah, I just want to like challenge my writing, like do different things. So I don't want to just be. That's the other thing that motivates me. I don't want to be stagnant in one place. I don't want to stay in one place. So that's the other thing that motivates me because I want to write drama. Yeah, I might. Well, technically, I did write a musical. I'll think about it.
Nice.
Even though I'm not like big on musicals, but even though I am a High School Musical fan, I'm a Disney kid, so it's just.
Yeah.
But I'm like I'm not. I mean, everything doesn't need to be a musical though. I was like, yes, I'm a Disney kid. I'm still a Disney kid. Especially old Disney, where it was actually really fun,
Yeah.
like the Hannah Montana days, That's So Raven days,
Yeah.
like Sweet Life back in Cody days, even the animation, Kid Buzowski. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm
Yep.
talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Um, and then even the animations of Code Name Kids Next Door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I tell you I'm old school, I'm old school.
Yes, sir. I believe.
um,
I'm from that time, so I can verify. I can verify. You got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm like, that's I'm hoping you can say the name if I can't get it right. I'm like, code name Kids Next Door.
Yeah. I got you.
Jimmy Neutron, Very Odd Parents. Shoot, it's so many good things that I get inspired by,
Yeah.
and I just want to like bring that energy back, especially kids nowadays. I was like, it's been too much darkness in this world. I just want to bring some excitement,
Yes,
some
sir.
joy. Because kids nowadays can barely read, and their kids committing suicide, and because they're getting hurt by these parents that don't care, they're just neglecting them. And one of the artists that inspired me is King Lion. How he also inspired me because his comics Flame has gotten kids to read.
Nice.
That's the level I want to get to. I want to get kids reading. I want to get adults reading comics. I want everyone to just chill out and just I don't know what's the let's be at peace. There we go. That's like, can we just please be at peace? I was like, we're called the United States, but yet we're so divided.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get political or anything. I'm just being real.
I got
Like,
you.
I'm just calling what it is.
Yeah.
Like on the news, you see all these riots, all these negativity. It's draining. It's
It is.
mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually draining.
Yep.
And that's what. And you ask that, and that go back to your question. That what motivates me. I say I want to build my company to reach globally, not just here, but just globally, so I can just get everybody just have fun. Like if we just have fun together without like no arguments, just simply just being human. Like it's not a problem just being human. Like come on. Um, man, I had a lot to say because my chest feels less heavy.
All good, man. No, I just want to
um,
commend you, man. You're an inspiration because, a lot of people would say, you should pick a lane and stick to it. And I've been told that my entire life. But, there's so many things out there I want to do and I want to try that I can't. So I like to coin the term master or a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And that's kind of what I consider myself. And I think that's something definitely, if you don't already, you should consider yourself, which is, it's very cool to, you kind of life's too short. There's too many cool things out there to try. Why just, commit yourself to one thing when you can, go try a bunch of things?
exactly,
Very cool, man.
exactly.
So, before I let you go, where can people find you online on social media? I know you've got the website, but where else can people find you just to kind of keep up to what you're doing?
You can find me on Instagram at I am Kevin Davis official. On Facebook, I am Kevin Davis CEO, and my website kevliststudio.com. And you can also find my business pages on Instagram as Kevlist or Kevlist Entertainment, and then I have Kevlos House. I got Kevlos House Instagram, but just go to my main Instagram. I am Kevin as official. I'll have them tagged, so you just go to one place. I have them tagged in my bio. Boom, right there. You found me. So
Nice.
yeah.
And one last thing, you've done a great job of giving a bunch of motivation, a bunch of inspiration, a bunch of advice. What's one more piece of advice you want to leave the people that are listening? Just about anything.
One one big advice I would say is um, believe in your dreams, but don't just believe them, execute them. don't be afraid to ask questions because asking questions will get you to the level you want to be at. Because a closed mouth does not get fed. Do not get lost in the wilderness. Just ask questions, get motivated, find out who you are, and just do what you love and don't let somebody dictate what you can and cannot do.
That's good, man.
Yeah. And don't
That's
let
good.
anyone hold you back. And if somebody's being negative, kick them out the door and let the door hit them out because they're not there for you to support you. That's one of the, oh, that's also one of the biggest lessons getting to becoming creative is that people you would know who your true friends are when you start getting your um boundaries. There you go. When you start getting your priorities straight and your boundaries together,
Yes,
especially
sir.
being creative, you will find out who your true friends are. Because there are some people that's just there um because they think that you're lower than them. But as soon as you find out who you are and you start getting higher and higher, figure out who you are. That's the real ones will be there with you, supporting you every step of the way, holding you accountable, and just making sure you get where you want to go. The fake ones will just be jealous of you, talking behind your name, tell me behind your back, talking bad behind your back. Because I've dealt with that actually for the
Yeah.
past three years in my creative journey. Yeah, because it's been 3 years now in me in comics, my creative journey, and not just comics, but in my entrepreneurship. In 3 years, I found out who my real friends are, and that's why I keep my circle small. Because I found out things that people were talking behind my back that were not true. And yes, it hurt me for a second, but then again, I was like, I don't care. I got the problem. I'm like, I don't care, because I've been bullied my entire life, and um, then I found out I was bullied because they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So this is like this is also like the people that's been bullied, especially like me, like the nerds. That if someone calls you a nerd, take that as a compliment because nerds rule the world, right?
True.
I was like, nerds have the creativity that people calling you nerds don't have. Being a nerd is the best thing you can be because being a nerd is being real. Being a
Yeah.
nerd, you can explore. Being a nerd is like being the smartest person in the room. Because when you
True.
like look at like the show like MacGyver, he's a nerd because he figures out stuff that people can't.
Yep.
And so I was like, if you're being called a nerd, heck, take tell that bully thank you. Don't give them the power over you. Tell them thank you and catch them off guard. I'm like
Yeah.
that's I'm like you I'm like you're I'm like you're your own weapon. I'm like you just have to figure out how to operate that in the right way. Not
Yep.
but that's in the right way.
Yep. That's important.
But yes, I'm like, if they call you a geek, you're a nerd. I'm like, and I'm like, you realize the geeks and the nerds are the ones that's getting better jobs than the one that's been bullying you.
It's true.
Like
Yeah, I know
geeks and nerds are the ones that are actually starting businesses while the burleys are, I don't know, in their mom's basement
yeah.
and being deadbeats. The nerds are actually taking care of business while the bullies are just being lackadaisical. That's what it
True.
says.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, nerds won the world because we have the mindset to create, to build, and to produce.
It's true.
And I'm not just talking to kids about. I'm not telling to like the kids, but also to like the young adults too, because adults bully each other too.
The
So
geeks will
that's
inherit the earth.
exactly.
Yep.
So that's my biggest advice I wanted to give.
That's good. And yeah, I agree with you about, don't take nerd as an insult, as a compliment. I'm an IT guy during the day. That's my day job. And a few years
That's freaking
ago,
fantastic. I need you to help me with my computer.
I get that a lot. But a few years ago, I had a bunch of people in my office, and one of the guys tried to call me a nerd and like give me a hard time. And this other guy that was waiting stood up. He's like, "Are you really going to be in here calling?" I mean, and this is like us as grown-ups, as adults. And he's like, "Are you
Oh,
really going to come in here, ask the dude for help and call him a nerd? Like, are you serious right now?" And he's like, "I don't understand. Like, we're not in junior high anymore, man. Like, and this guy probably takes being a nerd as a compliment." I'm like, "A matter of fact, I do."
Mhm.
So it's dumb and yeah, I don't know. It's dumb. Grown-ups are dumb and
Oh yeah.
childish, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to take a minute now to thank Polygon Horizon. Their song Pizza Force is the song we use for the show. Go check them out on Bandcamp. They're a great band. Go show them some love. You can find the show Fueled by Weird on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also email me at fueledbyweird@gmail.com. You can find the Fueled by Weird on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find me on the Spotlight Media GA app, along with the rest of the Stay Weird Network shows, the Nerdy Manroom show with Hassel and Monster, Hassel's Review, Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, the Stay Weird Network, it's a brand new network dedicated to bringing some awesome back to the internet, just like you. You know, there's been a lot of crap in the world, there's a lot of darkness, and we kind of want to do our part to help bring a little bit of positivity and awesome back to the internet. You can find us at Stay Weird Network on YouTube and Instagram, and you can email us at stayweirdnetwork@gmail.com. And I want to thank my sponsor, The Zone Collectibles in Tifton, Georgia. They're your one-stop shop for comics, collectibles, and so much more. Now, if you like the show, please leave a review, tell your friends because word of mouth is my friend. And remember, kids, life's too short to be normal, so stay weird. Kevin, thanks so much for joining me tonight, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.